Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aisyah Mardhiah and this is my teammate.
Hi, I'm Suraya.
We develop an educational game-based learning for our final project named kuEH. So, what is kuEH? kuEH is an educational game-based learning that will educate our Malaysian children aged 5 to 10 years old about the traditional kuih muih in Malaysia. What is the problem here? Our problem is that the value and tradition of kuih muih in Malaysia have been neglected by the people today. Malaysians often buy the kuih muih without knowing the history and the origin behind the kuih. Just by eating and knowing what the name of the kuih is not enough. Therefore, this e-learning tool will provide packed information for the target user to acknowledge our sweet heritage. Our game objective is to implement the spirits of celebrating traditional cuisines and heritage at such a young age, an effort to spark a hope in cultivating enthusiasm to preserve our traditional kuih muih among the youth. Our target user is children aged 5 to 10 years old because we believe that implementing this traditional knowledge should start at such a young age. So here is our navigation flow. Our main bar is map page, history of the chosen kuih, the let's cook page which will guide our children on the step-by-step on how to cook the kuih and also teach them the method of the kuih. Lastly, the quiz page which we want to make sure that our children recall what they learned throughout the process. Throughout this project, we covers on two scopes which are metaphor and mechanics. Each of us lead on one scope, which I lead on the metaphor, which covers mostly on the designing, and my teammate Suri and Suraya covers on mechanics, which mostly on the codings. However, although each of us were appointed to lead one scope, it does not mean that only just one leader cover and do all the codings, or only one leader do all the designings. We divide the tasks equally, which making sure that each of us get to experience a hands-on doing designing and codings equally. I will pass the methodology part to Suraya.
Hi. So moving on to the methodology part. So for the methodology part, we use agile game development approach for our project. So during the FYP1, we were in the stage of pre-production, production and implementation stages. We then collect and gather all the feedbacks from the judges and from our own supervisors in order to improvise our project. During the FYP2 phases, we are in the testing stages where we conduct beta testing and user acceptance tests, which in the testing stage. For the beta testing part, we conduct it with our own supervisor, which is Madam Muna, where we have completed the development part, which is until 80%. And for the user acceptance test, we conduct it with among 3 children which age range from 5 to 10 years old. So after we have done the testing stages, we then since we use the agile game development approach, so we always go back to the implementation stages where we keep on improvising our project. After we have completed all of the development parts and the improvisation part, we then go to the last stage of the agile approach, which is the deployment part, which is where we are now.
Yep.
So moving on with the storyboard part. So the player will go through the start page where they need to click the start button, and then it will direct to the map page which display the 13 kuih of each state. And then when they click one of the kuih, it will direct to the history page where it will explain the history of the kuih. And then when they know the history of the kuih, they need to go to the cooking pages where they learn how to cook the kuih and all. And then when they learn all the cooking step-by-step cooking, they will need to recall back all the things that they have learned and need to do quizzes. after they have successfully done the quizzes, they will get a star collections for their success. And in case if they do not want to go through the cooking step by step, they can just go to the quizzes page, where it only consists the quizzes part. Moving on to the software used. So we use Adobe Animate to develop game mechanics and animations. We use Adobe Illustration for illustration design purposes, and last but not least, we use Adobe Audition to edit our sound effect.
Lastly, these are our character designs. Each kuEH will represent one state, so we have all 13 kuEHs in total, because we have 13 states currently in Malaysia. To get a clearer view of our project, let us run the game. Let us try chalk penyeram for our first kuEH. Okay, so moving on, they will see history of kuEH chalk penyeram, which they will
Learn
about the origin, which is its origin is from Kedah. It's also called as what, which is kuEH denderam and kuEH penyeram. And lastly, they need to know the nutrition facts, which in this case, each chalk penyeram 100 gram per serving size. They have 465 calories. So whenever they're ready, they will have to learn to cook. Alright,
But before that, for each kuEH, they will have different step by steps cooking. So as for the chalk penyeram,
alright. So for each each kuEH, they will have step by step, but each of the pattern are the same, which is cook one, they will learn the ingredients used, which they will either have to boil it or blend it. And then the second stage of cooking, which is they will learn the method, which is either they have to fry it or steam it. So first, there's instruction timeline at the left, which is they will ask the kids to drag flour to the cooking pot. Right, and then drag gula melaka. And then water. And then they ask us to click spatula and stir the mixture. Alright, then the
So,
button pop up.
before that, why we are having the timeline of the cooking on the left, so that the user can always recall back what are the ingredients used in the cooking.
Next, click the dough. Click the dough. Then drag flour mixer to the chopping pot. Drag the shaper. Then they have to fry it. Alright, so it's finished and it's quiz time.
So we have done cooking the chalk penyeram, and now let's try cooking lopes. So the same thing, the history of lopes.
Also the name, or if they don't have any other names that the current local call, we will give another story behind so they ask us to drag the pengpula into the bowl, and then drag air pandan.
So basically, the user just need to follow the steps, the timeline given.
Daun pisang. into the triangle shape. Next.
Kelapa parit.
In case your player don't want to go through the steps by steps of the kuEH, they will just want to answer the quiz of each state of the kuEH, they can just click a quiz button at the lobby page, yes, map page, and then they can pick one kuEH that they want to try on. So we have all the kuEH right here, and they can also go back to the map if they want to. That's all for our presentation for our final year project. We hope you like it.
Yes. Until we meet again. Bye.